And now to kind of get into, why we're here in the first place, talking about music. How did you, because you play yourself, you've been doing this for a while. So how did you get involved in music?
Yeah, I don't know. Probably started like with my parents. Like my parents are both really into music. Like my mom's gone to music festivals with me. My dad goes to concerts all the time. Like growing up, we were always playing music. My mom had a piano in her house. My dad just got a piano a few years ago. My little brother plays piano. So we're just kind of like a musical family. We're just all been really passionate about it. And then I've kind of like, since I was a little kid, like just remember like using music as a way to like get motivation, like for hockey, and like being like, wow, like the emotions I get from listening to music are so awesome. It makes me feel so motivated. I remember like being a little kid and like wishing I could put headphones on, while I was playing and just listen to music. And it's just something that, really affects me on an emotional level, and it really helps me out when things are going bad, and it really makes me feel good when things are going good too. So I'm just a huge fan.
Yeah. And so what instruments do you play?
I play the piano is like my best instrument, and then I do guitar and ukulele too. But I started with the ukulele to impress a girl in high school, and then I started playing that consistently, and I got a little bit bored because there's only so much you can do on the ukulele. So then I moved on to the guitar, and then I got a little bit bored with the guitar because with the guitar, like, you could play chords and you can do like solos and stuff. But if you're doing solos, like you need a backtrack. If you're playing chords, you need something, to play the melody. And the piano, I really love because you can do both. You can do the chords and the bass notes, and then you can play the melody with the other hand. And so that's when I really fell in love with the piano, and that's where I spend most of my time on.
Yeah. You've got like a Les Paul, right? Is that?
Yeah.
I saw that at the documentary that the Flames put together, and I was like, because I'm a musician myself, and
nice.
and Les Paul is my number one guitar.
Sick.
So.
Yeah, I bought it in college, and since I went pro, it was really hard for me to take that with me everywhere because I was carrying a big full-size weighted keyboard too, and so I was like, I can't bring all my hockey gear, my piano, and my guitar. So this is the first year because we drove from San Jose where I was able to bring my guitar, and I hadn't really played it since college, so I got it totally refurbished. We got an amp, we got all the stuff here, and now it's like it's a great setup.
Yeah, well, and of course, being in Calgary, it's going to be there no matter if you're up or down.
Yeah,
right?
For sure, and that's why like I was comfortable bringing everything too, because we could just get a home base. It's so nice.
Yeah. Now, who are some of your biggest like musical influences, favorite artists, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, it really just like depends on the genre, honestly. Like my biggest genres that I really love to listen to are like a lot of different subgenres, like an EDM, and that's kind of what I fell in love with originally. And then I also love a lot of like indie alternative rock. And then this season, I've really gotten into classical and jazz. So I really like before every game now, it's like I'm listening to a ton of classical music. But yeah, like growing up, like Porter Robinson, like from an EDM standpoint, I really loved Porter Robinson's Worlds album. That was like big, like whatever it is, but a huge part of like my teenage years, you know. And then I really love Odessa too. I like the jazz, like Oscar Peterson, Miles Davis. Like M83, and then like with indie, I love Spacey Jane. There's like so many others, Mount Joy, but yeah, I could go on forever.
For sure, yeah. And so you were talking a little earlier about like using music to kind of motivate you on the hockey side of things, and then I was going to ask you about like if you have like a like a game day playlist or stuff you use to kind of get pumped up, but. So it's classical right now.
Yeah, every season I kind of change it, honestly. And I kind of change it on a game-by-game basis, too. Depends on how I'm feeling emotionally. Like, if I'm feeling a little bit tired, a little bit worn down, then I'll play a lot more EDM, like a lot more like house music. And I like deep house or like Rufus Du Sol, like something that has like a consistent beat and like can bring me more energy. If I'm feeling like I want to be a lot more focused, like my energy levels are good and I want to focus on the mental part, then I'll play a lot of classical because that kind of just lets me like get into that flow state a little bit easier. But yeah, it just depends on my mood. But there's been years where it's only aggressive music, and then there's been years where it's just like almost like sleep music because I was like so anxious, it just depends on the season. But this year it's been a lot of classical music.
Awesome. Like any favorite composers?
Dude, I'd have to go back. I mean, I love Chopin, Rachmaninoff. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but
Yep.
I got a playlist of like 100 and something songs, and it's just like Spotify's great because you can be like, oh, I really like this song, and then you just like go to the radio based off that song, and then like while it's playing, you just like add the plus, add the plus, add the plus. So it's hard because you never really get to learn like a lot of the names of the artists and the names of the songs, but you can build these awesome playlists, and that's like Spotify's awesome for that.
Yeah. And then like, you know, the other interesting thing is like, you know, obviously like when you're in a game, you know, they're always playing music like between whistles and stuff like that. Are there any songs on the ice that get you, you know, fired up?
Not really. I mean, a lot of it, I think, for me is because it's a little bit more like poppy, like a little bit more like mainstream, like overplayed stuff. And that's one thing, like for me, like I'm constantly looking for new songs because once I listen to a song a little bit too much, then I start to lose that like emotional, like it doesn't affect me as much emotionally, you know? And that's what I really like listening to music is for like the dopamine and like how it affects you emotionally. And when you listen to songs so many times, it's like it doesn't really do anything for you anymore. And a lot of the stuff they play, like, you know, in between whistles and stuff, it doesn't really do much for me. And at that point, like in a game, like you're so locked in, like you're not even really paying attention to what they're playing or, you know, what the crowd is doing or whatever. You're just focusing on making the save and the puck.
For sure, yeah.